Okay, let me explain. Squares are dumb and stupid and dumb. They make Gilbert very angry. They're dumb and hexagons are just a better shape. Except Minecraft. Minecraft's cool. Now to understand why, we need to talk about tiling. Tiling. A way of arranging identical plane shapes so that they completely cover an area without overlapping. Bees understand tiling. They need honey to live in junk, and they need wax to store the honey. Bees need a bunch of flowers to make just a little honey. They need 8 milliliters on average of honey to make about 1 square centimeter of wax. I don't have a clue how they fit all that honey into those tiny bee bellies, but as the old adage goes, bees don't care what humans think is possible. And to stockpile that honey, they need a crap ton of wax. So this is the problem that bees have. How can the bees store the most honey using the least amount of wax? They could use squares. Squares. But squares are weak and dumb and useless. Have you ever made a bunch of squares out of whatever? Yeah, it just collapses. Now we could use the strongest regular polygon, that means basic shape for all you geometrically challenged folks out there, the triangle. You put a bunch of those and bada bing bada boom, strong boy hours. There ain't no way that's gonna break if you push down on it. But wait! Yeah, just erase all that junk in the middle and boom, hexagon. Now granted, one hexagon has the same problems as a square. You push on it, bam, on the ground. But when it gets some of its buddies, it becomes just about as strong as triangles. It uses 50% less material. Perfect for our bee friends. And NASA engineers, I guess, but I won't get into that. And another thing. Carbon, that thing that all life and also diamond and graphite is made out of. So the strongest formation of it is the hexagon. Speaking of which, carbon nanotubes, the strongest thing in the known universe, are just rolled up tubes of hexagons. Ain't that wacky? What else? Oh, Gilbert's shell is made out of hexagons. I think that's reason enough to ditch squares entirely, to be honest. Hey slowpokes, future tortoise here. Special thanks to CGP Grey for enlightening me to the hexagon master race. He actually inspired me to make hexagonal chess, and then for this video, link in the description. Now let me explain why this is good for chess. So let's take a look at normal boring virgin square chess. This is what the board looks like. Makes sense, right? Now let's look at how pieces move on it. When a rook moves one space, that is a guaranteed one space is moved. But when a bishop moves one space, because of the Pythagorean theorem, the bishop actually moves the square root of 2 spaces, which completely destroys all preconceived notion of space. On a hexagonal board, looks like this by the way, yes I drew it, one space in any direction is guaranteed to be only one space. Another reason why hexagons are superior. Anyway, let's look at how all the pieces move in my version of hexagon chess. The pawn. Unlike in regular chess, it doesn't need to move more than one space to capture an enemy piece. It still captures on the diagonals though. Unlike regular chess, it has actual notation. So if you were mapping out the whole game, it would be something like P, A2 to B3. En passant doesn't exist in hexagonal chess. Sorry, en passant fans, but I'm too lazy to incorporate that, and so no one gets that. His Highness the King. It's basically the same as normal chess. King can move one space in any direction, and castling works the same as you would expect. Pretty simple, pretty boring, get checkmated, you die. The Knight. Instead of moving 2 spaces in one direction, and one in a different direction, also known as the Great Knight's Move, or the L shape, Hexagon Knight can just move 2 spaces total, and it can jump over pieces. Rook. The right side up rook takes this funky looking path. So it moves like in a zigzag pattern, right? But the zigzags will go up towards the white player from wherever its starting position before it started moving. And on the board, it starts on white's right side and black's left side because of how the board is shaped.
The Humperdinck Shrug from Kasparov, quick as you like. Now, Short appears to be inverting his rook, and that's had the desired effect. He's confused Kasparov's pieces there, some of them wondering if gravity's been reversed. One of the pawns has fainted.
Yeah, so as you could guess, the inverted rook takes the same path as the normal rook, except the zigzag is upside down. It moves towards black's side from its starting position. And the reason you need the distinction between both rooks is because how the board is shaped. And if the rooks could just choose which path they wanted, you could checkmate someone with one rook and no effort. Hence, the inverted rook. The bishop. One of the main reasons I made hexagon chess. It moves diagonally. Pretty basic if you ask me. Her Majesty the Queen. The Queen is very special in hexagon chess. Instead of just being the usual rook, bishop, and king all rolled up into one powerhouse, the Queen does this. Yes, it does move vertically and diagonally. The horizontal movement is kind of whack. It's like the same reason there's multiple types of rook. If it was both rooks at once, it could checkmate the opponent way too easily. So instead of that, I just have it skip over spaces unless they're the same color and rank, or row, as the space that the queen started on. Just because it can jump across the horizontal axis doesn't mean it can skip over pieces. There was a pawn in the way, and the queen can't jump over that pawn like knights can. If you want to see a more in-depth example of my version of hexagon chess, you can see the whole game I used for the examples in the top right corner about now. If you enjoyed this video, you can check out the rest of my channel. I mostly do gaming live streams via PlayStation, so, quality is limited. But sometimes I do other stuff, like the Homemade Adventure movie. That's still coming. Don't worry, I haven't abandoned that series. It has a special place in my heart. Anyways, have a good day, and say bye to Gilbert on your way out. Later.